Hey babes, here's some updated concealer hacks. First, I'm going in with the Triple T and Argan Anti-Aging Serum just to prep my skin, get it really hydrated without extra oil. Then I'm gonna go in with the Illusion Contour Concealer in Erase. Erase is a pinker, salmon-y type shade with some peach undertones. So even though it looks a little bit pinker compared to our other concealers, it really helps to counterbalance any dark circles without being too bright or light. You can see here as I get close to the camera that it just counterbalances that darkness, that purple that I have in the inner corners of my eyes. Then I'm gonna go in with the Luxe Liquid shade in Hazelnut. I'm just applying a light layer all over my face to color correct the rest of my skin. Since I know that I'm gonna be doing contour, I don't need to apply too much of the Luxe Liquid. In the past, the contour that you would see is applying the concealer in a downward triangle underneath the eye. That no longer applies because too much of the concealer can just cause creasing and not look as good. And that's why I'm just going in with the Luxe Liquid Foundation additionally under my eye, because the formula is really buildable, and so it gives a natural, just color corrected look. Now I'm going in the concealer with Truffle. The old method was to go kind of underneath the cheekbones, but now for a more lifted look, what we're going to do is apply the contour concealer with a small concealer brush slightly above the cheekbones. And then as you can see, I'm going in along the sides of my forehead and just kind of blending that extra product down into my skin. We're gonna use a bigger brush to fully blend it, but just getting some of that extra product off, going underneath the lip and then along the sides of the nose. I then come in and I do a line right alongside my chin. I used to do it just underneath the jawline, but to create a better shadow, again, really going for that more lifted, sculpted look. What we're seeing nowadays is really we want to emphasize the upward look of the face. Before, some of the techniques kind of brought the face down. Even though it was sculpting, it wasn't lifting. Now to buff out, I'm just using a tightly packed bristle brush and very, very lightly buffing from my cheekbone up towards the rest of my face. The goal here is to blend the product, but not move it so much that you lose some of the contour shape. You just want to lightly blend the product in, again, not using too hard of a hand. For my lips and my nose, I'm going in with a smaller brush just because I have some more control. You can see I'm just literally smudging the product out. Again, there's going to be a little bit of a shadow underneath my lip to make them look fuller. And then along my nose, I don't want to lose too much of the color, especially because I'm not going in with too dark of a shade of concealer. Here I want to show you how my face naturally moves. So if you apply too much concealer on your face throughout the day where your skin naturally moves, you're going to see creasing. The purpose here is to lighten underneath the eyes, and you can see when you smile, you're not going to get too much movement in the inner corners of your eyes. So that's where you can really go in with that lighter shade and not worry about your concealer budging. To then really get that lifted, sculpted look without worrying about having too much product, you just take your lighter shade from the outer corner of your eye and apply in an upward motion. This, along with the darker shade of the concealer, is going to create that illusion of your face being almost pulled tighter and more sculpted and lifted. The emphasis here is to use a little product compared to before where we used to just pile it on. We've already color corrected with the erase shade, so we don't need a ton of the lighter concealer to brighten the area. We've already done that. And now we just apply a little bit on the outside of our eye so that we're creating the illusion of a sculpted face, and we're not putting too much in the areas under the eye where the skin naturally moves. Once I finish off with my eye area, I just take the remaining concealer on my brush and I go down the bridge of my nose. I don't need too much here. I don't really prefer a super contoured nose, but where I do like a lot of contour is underneath my cheeks, and that's why I'll take more of the concealer in the light shade and create that line underneath the darker contour color. It's the contrast of the light and the dark shades which really create the definition that we're looking for. I then like to finish off with the product that's left on my brush above my eyebrows, specifically just to get that sharper shape, and then spreading out onto my forehead with the remaining product. When I'm ready to blend, I just go in with a really light hand and a small brush and use just enough pressure to apply the product outward, get it blended. I'll go underneath my eye very, very, very lightly just to smudge it out. But my focus again is to keep as little of the concealer in those areas that move, that I have natural fine lines, because I don't want to get too much bunching or creasing. So just very, very light hand here, blending out to get it to look natural. When I'm ready to blend out under my cheekbone, I focus on keeping the brush in a downward pulling direction. I don't want to blend too deeply into the contour color because I want the contrast of those shades giving the appearance of the sculpted look. So I just kind of stipple the brush to get it blended in, pull the product down. Again, using a pretty light hand here and not over blending. You can see with the close-up that there's very, very little creasing underneath my eye because we've gone in with such little concealer directly under the eye. Any little bit of creasing directly under the eye can just be gently brushed out. I'll then go in with my fingers and just gently tap underneath the eye where I find that I get most of my creasing. I have a tiny, tiny little fine line right underneath my eye. And so I'll tap away any of that excess product that's right there. You can see just a little bit on my finger there. To then set it, I don't want to go in too heavy-handed with powder because that can make you look cakey. We just want to get the product to stay in place. So I'll swirl my brush and then tap off most of the product. Come in and just gently here, apply in a tapping motion. I don't want to move my concealer, so I'm just gonna tap on the powder to set it and keep it in place. If you notice that you've had some of your product move, it's okay to continue to just tap it with your finger to get it blended out before you set. You don't want any bunched makeup before you apply your powder because then it's just gonna kind of congeal in that crease and set in that line. You don't want that. So just tap out right before you apply your powder. That way you don't get any bunching of the product and to kind of cement it in your under eye area. Now you can see when I come in close to the camera that I don't have any excess product under my eye. I still have the color correction, I still have the lifted look, but I'm not experiencing any cakiness or any creasing because we've done so much to put the product in the right place and remove any excess. To finish off the look, I'm just using the Beach-In bronzer in Tahitian Glow, and then finally finishing off my cheeks with Dusty Rose.